Welcome to the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. This is your go-to resource for personal growth, mastering communication, and influencing and persuasion techniques that will help you unleash the full potential of yourself and others. Here is your host, Alex Morgan.
Welcome to another episode of the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. My name is Alex Morgan. I'm a master trainer of hypnosis and NLP, and I wanted to touch on something really important today because a couple of weeks ago on my YouTube channel, my Create Your Ideal Future YouTube channel, I was talking about willpower versus the unconscious mind and which one is more powerful. And I'm sure if you're listening to this episode and any other episodes on this podcast, I'm sure you can kind of think of which one is more important. And I'm not necessarily going to reveal the answer to you because I think you already know. So during this episode, though, I'm going to go over some of the most common misconceptions and myths of willpower. And as you listen, I'm also going to tell you what you can kind of do instead so that you can really know that you can have success easily and effortlessly, so you can use your mind to get predictable results. So as I go through each of these, really consider what you want to do and what you want to focus on instead, because willpower isn't everything, because you do have the power of the unconscious mind working with you all the time, don't you? In fact, your unconscious mind is doing much more than you probably even consider that it's doing. So willpower is finite and quickly depleted. So this idea suggests that using willpower on one task is going to drain it for many other tasks. It's almost like willpower runs out like a battery. So that's the myth. However, what is the reality? The reality shows that willpower may not be entirely finite and can be influenced. This is the interesting part. Can be influenced by factors like your mind and motivation. So people who believe willpower is limited, yes, they do tend to show lower discipline or control. And the people who see it as more limitless, well, they tend to just perform better, don't they? The key words here are, though, factors. They're influenced by factors. Your willpower is influenced by factors like your mind and your motivation. So, what can you use instead of your willpower to make sure that you get the success that you want? That's right, your unconscious mind. And I'm sure you know from a few episodes ago about values. Those are unconscious, and those fuel your motivation. So, it doesn't even really have to do with willpower. You can, in fact, use the unconscious mind. And when your unconscious mind is programmed for success, that means that you can achieve much more than you thought possible before you can start to do things that you haven't even considered yet. So is willpower really finite? Well, the thing that I do know is the unconscious mind is limitless. And you have an unconscious mind, and the wonderful thing is you were born limitless. Maybe you were taught some limitations as you were growing up, and you started to act on those limitations at thinking. Now it's time to act on new thinking and to be limitless again through your mind and your motivation. A lot of people believe that willpower is an inherent trait, that some people just naturally have more willpower while others don't have as much. And there's nothing that anyone can do to change this. Well, If you're listening to this podcast, then you know that we can make any changes that we want. So clearly, this is a myth. Willpower can be strengthened like a muscle through practice and manageable exercises. It's just like programming the unconscious mind. So what's something else that would be much more powerful? If you were to train your willpower, that means you're training how much energy really that you want to put into something. That's a wonderful thing about the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind transmits energy. So you can use your unconscious mind to give you more energy, to give you a bit less, because it's not always beneficial to give your unconscious mind and give yourself more energy. For example, what if you want to go to sleep? You don't necessarily want so much energy 100% of the time. So you can actually use your unconscious mind to transmit energy. If you think about it, how can you get more energy? You can really put thoughts into that. Of course, you don't want to put in so much energy that you experience things like stress, anxiety, overwhelm, or burnout. Use the amount of energy that you want to use so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. So, you don't just have a certain amount of willpower or a certain amount of energy. Nothing is really inherent because you can strengthen anything, have more of something, have less of something. Whatever is beneficial for you because of the power of your unconscious mind. Even though this is about willpower, it's really showing you what's more powerful than willpower, isn't it? The next one, only strong willpower leads to success. Success is a matter of willpower alone, and those who succeed are simply better at resisting certain temptations or pushing through challenges. This is not reality. So, of course, willpower can help. Putting in effort can always help. However, what do people who are successful do? What do I talk about more on these episodes? Successful people, they design what they want. They design their environment. They design the things they want, the experiences they want to have, their relationships. And they do this all with the unconscious mind. Success is much more than willpower, because what you need to do for success is you need to put effort in your mind. And the more effort that you put in your mind, the less effort you have to put in the physical. And if you don't believe me, think about it for a second. If you want to design the perfect relationship for you, what would be faster? To think about all the things that you wanted for yourself and this other person? Because when this other person comes, you have to be ready. So everything that you want, you have to be also changing in yourself to make sure that you're ready for this. If you thought about it, wrote these things down, felt these things, and spent thinking time every day thinking about these things, when this person was right in front of you, it would feel much more easy and effortless, would it? Or would you want to put no effort in your mind, not think about any of the things that you wanted, and then just randomly met people and hope that they were the one for you? What do you think would be easier? What would you think would be more effortless, more fun, more enjoyable? That's up for you to decide how much effort you want to put in your mind. Willpower means saying no to everything that's enjoyable. A lot of people think that when you exercise your willpower, that means denying yourself of any fun, any pleasure. However, what's more fun? What's more pleasurable? The thing I talk about here is using your unconscious mind to forego maybe some pain and instead use your unconscious mind to reward yourself, to focus on fun, to focus on pleasure. It's okay to go for immediate desires and long-term rewards. You should always be celebrating every time that you have success. Because when you celebrate your success and you give yourself rewards, it shows your unconscious mind that you're worthy of achieving more and more. And your unconscious mind is going to want to achieve more and more because it knows that a reward is coming. So including rewards actually reinforces success to your unconscious mind, and it shows you that you're doing something that is worthwhile, that you want to do. So there's no point in saying no to things that are enjoyable. Your life is supposed to be enjoyable. So get rid of limitations, get rid of negative emotions, and start to fill up your reality with all the good stuff, the fun, the pleasure. Your life doesn't have to be about being stuck, staying stagnant, struggling, having no money, feeling like you don't have enough time. Instead, it needs to be about making meaningful connections, relationships, having abundance of time, money, energy, fun, pleasure, all the wonderful things that you actually want that you probably haven't considered that much because there's so much information out there about how you have to work hard. You have to not do things that are enjoyable all the time. You can do things that are enjoyable for you all the time if that's how you want to think. The next one, willpower, works the same for everyone. So if one person can control their habits, well, then the next person can control their habits, their behaviors, their emotions just as easily as the next person. This is not reality. This isn't something that everyone can do with the same level of skill. Because if you think about it, all the things that I talk about here, even on just this episode, you have the power to control your own mind, to program your own mind. Not everyone's mind is going to work the same. Everyone's mind is a bit different because everyone puts a different level of effort in their mind. Because what did I just mention? Maybe some people think they need to struggle, or another person puts effort in their mind and thinks they get to have fun and pleasure. One person may think that they can do certain behaviors and certain things have to be hard. Or another person, they don't even think to do those same behaviors, and they know that success is easy. So nothing is going to work the same for everyone because everyone also has different experiences, different memories, different values, different motivations, different habits, behaviors. Everyone sees the world a bit differently. Everyone has their own unique model of the world. Everyone, though, outside of them has a map that they can use to get there, and that's not always going to be the same for everyone. Maybe some people try to keep going the same direction, the same way, and it's not working. Where other people, they know they have other choices, other opportunities, and other possibilities. Willpower is about being strong, and it's about resisting temptation. Willpower isn't about sheer grit, just using strength. People that are actually successful in using their willpower, they often use skills, resources that they have. And one of the easiest ways to connect to these resources, connect to these skills, is to use the unconscious mind. You don't even have to use your willpower. I'm sure you're seeing there's a common theme here of what's much more important. Because all the people who are successful, they use 4 different things to create success. They use their thinking, so their mentality. They use their skills. They use their resources. And they use their network. So achieving things isn't about being strong so much. That doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how strong you are. Again, it's about putting that effort in your mind. It's about acquiring new skills, new resources, new ways of thinking, and networking with new people that have what you want. There's no point in using all this grit, all this willpower when you can put effort in your mind instead. Willpower is always the best solution. Well, that's definitely not correct. Because every problem, you can use much more than willpower. Willpower definitely is not the most effective thing to use. Again, setting up your environment, using your unconscious mind to design your environment, where you are, who you're around, your habits. This doesn't mean that you have to power through different things. You get to automate what it is that you want in your mind. So it never really feels like you're using too much effort. Because imagine if you had everything set up in your life exactly how you needed it to be to achieve success. And you were using your skills, your resources, your thinking, and you were collaborating with the people around you. Would it ever feel like you were using too much effort? Would you ever really have to use your willpower? I think things would become easy and effortless for you, wouldn't they? And the last one, failing to exercise willpower means you're weak-minded. So sometimes people think if they give in to certain temptations, they give in, they resist. It's a sign of failure or weakness. Look, everyone can struggle from time to time. Just because you do something or you fail doesn't mean that you're weak-minded. A lot of times people think when they do hypnosis that when they're starting hypnosis, they're weak-minded or they're gullible. In fact, the reason that they're doing it is because they've lost control of their own mind, and it's time for them to gain control with their own mind again. It's okay to struggle at times. However, if you notice that you're struggling, you want to gain control of your mind again, so certain things don't have to feel like a struggle. Remember, it can be fun. It can be pleasurable. You can reward yourself. Imagine if you were rewarding yourself over and over in the future. Every time you achieve something, there was a reward for you. So be compassionate with yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's really going to help you. It's okay if something happens. It's not failure. There's no failure. There's only feedback. So you need to give yourself feedback, or you need to be around people who have what you want, and you need to get feedback from them, or find out how they give feedback to themselves. What kind of feedback would they use? How do they get feedback if they get feedback from others? So giving in to anything doesn't mean that you made any sort of failure. It was just a decision. And now that you know all of this, I think that you can make some decisions easily and effortlessly. And this isn't so much about developing your willpower. It's more about putting the effort in your unconscious mind, isn't it? Because when you put effort in your mind, it makes things feel effortless for you on the outside. So thanks so much for listening to this episode. Go ahead and rate the podcast wherever you are listening. I really appreciate everyone who is listening. So if you think someone else could benefit from this, who really needs to install these beliefs as well, because it's a really good thing to have some of these beliefs, go ahead and share the episode with them. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you on the next episode.